Hi, and welcome to the Grit and Grace podcast. I'm your host, David Horn, coming to you from my garage gym in a small town in Illinois. This episode is episode 4. It's called Let Them. But a quick disclaimer, I'm not an expert, I'm not a therapist, nor am I a doctor. I'm just a guy trying to get through this thing we call life on this rock we call home. And as always, remember, Jesus is the reason, the light, and the way. Always be the light. Now, as you all know, I've been dissecting the key elements from the first Grit and Grace podcast that I recorded, about a month ago. And then I've been breaking down the key elements for each of the episodes that followed after. So today's episode is called Let Them. It's not about the people who choose to stand with you in the rain when they could easily stay dry elsewhere. It's about those who reveal their true selves in the storms of your life. It's about understanding who you are in the face of a projectionist, a manipulator, or someone who has betrayed you. It's about learning when to simply say to yourself, let them. Have you ever felt like someone distorted who you are to hide the truth about themselves? That's called projection, and it's one of the go-to tactics of a narcissist or a fake, phony, or a fraudulent person. They twist the truth not because of who you are, but because they are too afraid to face who they really are. Jesus reminds us in Matthew 7, 4 through 5, how can you say to your brother, let me take that speck out of your eye, when all the time there is a plank in your own eye, you hypocrite? First take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly. See, projection is all about them. It's not about you. Their manipulation and their need for control are rooted in their own insecurities and shortcomings. As Marcus Aurelius said, you don't need to worry about siding with the majority or the minority. Instead, worry about not adopting their irrational beliefs. See, the truth doesn't change, no matter how much they try to twist it, and the truth is what will set you free. These kinds of people can show up in any aspect of your life, your relationships, your friendships, your family, or even in your professional connections. The truth is, you can spot them by their actions. You just have to stop listening to their words and focus more on seeing their actions. A person with good character and integrity does not need to prove they're good. Their actions speak louder than their words. But those who lack accountability will shift blame, and those who lack empathy will dismiss your feelings, and those who lack honesty will distort the truth. In Luke 10:19, it reassures us. It says, I have given you the authority to crush snakes and scorpions, and nothing will harm you. It also reminds me of the Cherokee tale of the two wolves, and it's about the battle that's inside all of us. One wolf is evil. Its core characteristics are anger, jealousy, arrogance, and deceit. The other wolf is good, and its core foundation is based upon peace, joy, kindness, and humility. So ask yourself, which wolf wins? Well, the truth is, it's the one you feed. One of my mentors once said, ego stands for edging God out. It blinds you, fuels insecurities, and destroys relationships. Philippians 2:3 calls us to live differently. Do nothing out of self-ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself. You see, true leadership starts with a servant's heart. It's not about control or manipulation. It's about putting others first without asking, what's in it for me? That's how you build meaningful, lasting relationships. But you see, fake people can't grasp this because their relationships are transactional. They only care about what they can gain. And here's a hard truth. People who truly love you won't intentionally hurt you. But the ego-driven, the fake, the fraudulent, and the phony, they know exactly what they're doing, and they just don't care. Romans 12:19 reminds us, do not take revenge, my friends, but leave room for God's wrath. For it is written, it is mine to avenge. I will repay, says the Lord. So let them judge you. Let them gossip. Let them misunderstand you. Whatever they do, just let them. And you might ask me, why? Why do I say, just let them? Because their actions are a reflection of their character, and it's not a reflection of yours. You don't need to fight every battle and tell your side of the story. I've said it before and I'll say it again. God saw it. God already knows the truth. Let Him fight your battles. Seneca says sometimes the best thing you can do is keep your mouth shut and your eyes open. The truth always comes out in the end. I hope you can understand because it took me some time. But when life or people seemingly try to break you, or they might even break you, it's not the end. It may feel like it at the time, but what it actually is a breakthrough. You're being rebuilt differently, you're being rebuilt stronger, and you're being rebuilt wiser. And here's a promise to make yourself. When this happens, or it feels like it's happening, turn your pain into power, turn your struggle into strength, and let whatever they meant to harm you instead refine you. So, when I thought about this, I thought about three takeaways on how to move forward. First, set clear boundaries. Healthy boundaries protect your peace. Refuse to lower your standards to accommodate those who refuse to raise theirs. Healthy boundaries, you can look at it like a fence around a garden. They keep the good things in, like peace, trust, and love, but they keep the weeds out that are like manipulation, deceit, and toxicity. But here is the thing, a garden isn't just built to be left alone, it requires constant upkeep and attention. So sometimes you need to check the fence for weak spots and then reinforce it. So now ask yourself, what fence have I neglected in my life? Where have I allowed the weeds to grow? And then start building those boundaries today because protecting your peace is a daily commitment. And remember, what you tolerate today sets the standard for tomorrow. Number two, and I've said it in other podcasts, see actions over words. You need to start seeing actions over words. Don't be swayed by empty promises or flattery. Pay attention to how they treat you and others and look at their actions. So imagine that you're walking through a dense forest. Words are like trails marked on a map, and actions are like footprints that show someone has walked the path. Which would you trust more, the words on a piece of paper or the evidence that was left on the ground? If someone keeps telling you they're going to change, but their actions never match their promises, it's like following a trail that only leads you in circles. So stop chasing the map and start following the footprints of the truth. Proverbs 4:23 reminds us, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. So what I'm trying to tell you is keep your heart protected, not hardened. Number 3, focus on your growth. Healed people heal others. Don't let their behavior change who you are. Commit to being the kind of person you wish they could be. It's like when a storm comes. Trees respond in only two ways. They get uprooted because their roots were too shallow, but others grow deeper roots into the earth. And secondarily, they find ways to have strength through the adversity. So you see, you have the power to choose how you respond to the storms of your life. Will you let the winds of betrayal, gossip, or manipulation knock you down? Or will you dig deeper, have deeper roots, have a stronger foundation, and grow stronger? Remember, healed people heal others. Your healing isn't just for you, it's for the lives you touch along the way and the lives around you. Because we know we can't control their behavior, but what we can control is how we respond to it. You know, life is a lot like another analogy, the lighthouse. It stands firm no matter how hard the waves crash upon it. Even when the storms rage and the winds blow hard, the lighthouse doesn't move. It shines its light. It doesn't do it for the approval of the waves or the wind, but for the sake of those around it who need to see its glow. So when people misunderstand you, judge you, or betray you, just think of a lighthouse. Your purpose isn't to fight the waves or try to change their directions, it's to stand firm, anchored in the truth, all the while shining your light. And now, as we reflect on what I've been talking about, I want you to ask yourself some questions. Who or what have you allowed to disrupt your peace, and how can you reclaim it? Number two, what battles are you fighting right now that you need to surrender to God? And number three, How can you better protect your heart and guard your peace while still showing grace to others? Now, understand, I can't give you the answers to these questions that I just asked, but what I can do is give you some affirmations that are rooted in Scripture so you can use them throughout your days, your weeks, your months to come that remind you of who you are in God's eyes. So I'm going to keep it simple. First, you are loved by God. Second, you are stronger than the storms around you. Third, walk in the grace of truth. And finally, you don't have to prove yourself to anyone. Remember, God saw it, and God fights for you. You just have to let Him. The show is titled Let Them, but the truth is, let Him. God is always there. He will never leave you. You just have to let Him. I want to leave you with this powerful truth from Romans 8:31. What then shall we say in response to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? No matter who misunderstands you, judges you, or tries to bring you down, just remember this: their actions, their opinions, their distortions can't change the truth of who God already knows you are in His eyes. You don't have to fight every battle or prove yourself to anyone. Let them do what they will, because if God is for you, no one, not a single person, can stand against you. So walk forward in faith, hold on to your light, and rest assured that God's purpose for you is bigger than anything or anyone trying to stand in your way. So I'm going to tell you, let them. Let them. Just let them. And then let God handle the rest. You see, you reap what you sow, and God saw it. God saw it. God also sees your heart, and vengeance is His to carry out. Don't forget that. Vengeance is not yours. All you have to do is let them and then let Him. I hope you have a week full of strength, clarity, and the grace to handle whatever comes your way. And always remember to be the light.